is Miss Courtney, and we are reading in our science book on page 227, section 8.5, Water from Above, a Gift from God. You can spend many enjoyable hours watching the never-ending variety of shapes in the clouds. Their white brilliance against the deep blue of the sky is a strikingly beautiful sight, although one we often take for granted in our daily lives. The flaming reds and oranges and the delicate pinks and purples of the clouds at sunrise and sunset are an awe-inspiring example of God's artistic talents displayed in creation. But as fascinating and beautiful as the clouds are, God did not place them in the sky just so we could look at them. God designed clouds to be the instruments He uses to water the earth. Without clouds, all the lands of the world would become drier than the dustiest desert. Clouds and their life-giving waters are a gift from God. What goes up must come down. Through evaporation and the action of rising air, water vapor is lifted far above the Earth's surface to form clouds. The water droplets or ice crystals that make up clouds are so light that they stay suspended in the air without falling. What then causes rain or snow or ice to drop out of the clouds? How does the water stored in clouds get back down to earth? Whether it takes the form of rain, snow, or ice, water that falls out of clouds is called precipitation. Most forms of precipitation starts out as ice crystals in the tops of the clouds. These cloud tops are very high in the air, where temperatures stay far below freezing, even on the warmest summer day. In these cold regions, the clouds are made up of both ice crystals and water droplets. The crystals and the droplets are very tiny to start with, but the cold temperatures cause the ice crystals to grow bigger by taking moisture from the surrounding droplets. Soon, the crystals become too large and heavy to be held up by the air, and they begin to fall through the cloud on their way to the ground. Precipitation personalities. Precipitation arrives on the ground in many different forms. The various types of precipitation develop their unique characteristics or personalities as they travel through the air down to the earth. Rain, the ordinary drip. An ordinary raindrop starts out as an ice crystal in the top of a cloud. When the crystal grows too heavy to float through the air anymore, it falls out of the cloud. During its journey to the ground, the ice crystal runs into warmer air and melts. Soon afterward, it strikes the earth as a drop of liquid water. Wet snow, friends who stick together. Snow falls when the temperature of the air at lower levels is cold enough to keep the ice crystals from melting into rain on their trip down to the ground. Ice crystals form into wet snow when the temperature of the air they pass through is right at or just above the freezing point of water. Under these conditions, falling ice crystals melt only slightly, and then they stick and freeze together to form large clumps called snowflakes. The snowflakes are so sticky that they cling to every surface they land on, creating the kind of spectacular snow cave in which even the tiniest branches and twigs are outlined in white. Wet snow is called good packing snow because it makes the best snowballs and snowmen. Dry snow. Solitary travelers. Dry snow falls when the temperature of the air is well below freezing. Ice crystals falling through very cold air do not melt and stick together to form large wet snowflakes, but travel singly to the earth because the individual crystals do not cling to each other. Dry snow is very loose and powdery, making it the best kind of snow for tobogganing and skiing. This sort of snow is also easily blown into tall snowdrifts by the wind. Ice, The quick change artist. Usually, air near the Earth's surface is warmer than the air higher up in the troposphere. But sometimes a layer of warm air will rise over the top of a layer of cool air. If the temperature of the warmer air is above freezing and the temperature of the cooler air is below freezing, the conditions are just right for two different kinds of icy precipitation to form. Ice crystals falling through the warmer air melt and turn into raindrops. But when they strike the layer of colder air, they may refreeze and turn into tiny pieces of ice, forming an unpleasant kind of precipitation known as sleet. If they do not refreeze in midair but continue all the way down to the ground as a liquid, the cold raindrops freeze as soon as they land, forming a coating of ice on every exposed object. This type of precipitation is called freezing rain. Although the icy coating on trees, houses, and telephone lines is a breathtaking sight, freezing rain causes much damage to plants and buildings and makes roads extremely slippery and dangerous. Tropical rain, going along with the crowd. A tropical raindrop may be the only type of precipitation that does not begin its life as an ice crystal. In the tropics, the temperature of the air at the level where rain clouds form is not below the freezing point of water. Because no ice crystals can exist in these clouds, rain must form by a different method. Water vapor condenses on large particles of sea salt in the air. A water droplet around one of these particles may easily become heavy enough to begin falling through the cloud. As it falls, it crashes into smaller water droplets that lie in its path. Some droplets bounce away, but others are irresistibly swept up by the bulk of the big droplet. By absorbing many of these tiny droplets, the big water droplet grows into a full-size raindrop as it falls out of the cloud on its way to the earth. And we will stop there for our comprehension check.